there you guys, it is me, RandomJosh, and I am back again with day 5 now of our 7 Deadly Sins makeup week. So, hello. let's begin with the obvious. This is a very, very intense look. I mean, yesterday's look was very low maintenance, low energy, so to say, with the whole dead look. But this, honey, we're going next level. We've got prosthetics, we have our horns on. So this is obviously inspired by Wrath. So I wanted to do a very kind of deep, dark, devil inspired look. So something really out of my comfort zone, and I think it has actually paid off. You know, I think we've made it work with the products that we have, and I'm actually living like, I feel so evil. I just want to go out and just boo. I mean, if I wanted to go the extra mile, I probably would have done my arms and stuff, but I've still got to try and get this off. So we went for this. So if you are interested to see how I achieved this particular look, then definitely stay tuned because it's coming for you now. So kicking this tutorial off, we are starting with something that is not priming the skin. We have got prosthetics today. So those are my devil horns, and we have here some Prozaid. So Prozaid is just to help essentially bind the prosthetics to the skin. So it's just like a glue essentially. So to start this off, you can see I'm just using a cotton bud, just because I don't really want to ruin any brushes or anything. So these are, you know, just a standard cotton bud, and I'm applying it around the prosthetic, and I'm also just applying it here to where I'm actually placing this particular prosthetic as well, just making sure that area has got enough coverage with the Prozaid, so that when it's, you know, ready to go on, it is just straight whack it on and it is there and it ain't budging. So just doing the same for the other horn as well now. So you want to kind of apply a reasonable amount. You don't want to apply too much because you'll have to wait for it to dry. Because essentially what you do, you can see the other side there has already gone like a clearer colour, which is what happens when it goes to a tacky stage, and that's the stage where you want to obviously apply it. So before actually doing this, I was sitting there marking out roughly where I want the prosthetics to go, so it's always good to try and do that before just jumping straight in and applying, because otherwise you might have it slightly off on the angling or just in the wrong kind of zone, and it just ruins the entirety of the effect. So yeah, you just want to make sure that both the prosthetic and the actual skin, well, the Prozaid on both of them has actually dried enough, and that it is at that tacky stage. So in between, I was just sitting there and tapping the areas to make sure that they are in that tacky stage. And I am actually just going back in with this one just to essentially add a little bit extra around the sides, just to ensure that it is stuck down. You don't always have to do this, it's just a little thing that I wanted to do to make sure that they were stuck in place. So now we are of course on to priming the skin. So I'm just starting with my Revolution Pro Pore Primer. So this is just to essentially get that part of the skin ready. I mean, any of this stuff is actually a lot bit more difficult because of the prosthetics, because you do have to do it on clean skin. So it makes the rest of it a little bit harder, but hey ho, we get through. So now it seems a bit, you know, pointless doing this, but I did use the anti-redness primer just because I've kind of grown used to using it now, and I would just like using that one, to be quite honest with you. So now I'm just popping my Fenty Beauty foundation on. So you may be like, aren't you painting your entire face red? Yes, I am, very shortly. But I like to have a base down before doing anything like that. And you can see I am actually working that over the prosthetic as well, because this just helps to blend everything in. Because I've not got any kind of, I wasn't using face paints or anything like that, I wanted it to be 100% makeup, so I am actually using eyeshadow. And because of the fact that I'm using eyeshadow as my entire face, I like to have some kind of wetter base down first before actually applying that, so that it just helps it kind of bond to the skin and doesn't, it supposedly helps as well with like the staining, because, you know, foundation blocks it to your direct skin and it just makes it easier, to be honest. So now I'm jumping in with my Beauty Bay and Emma Mitchell palette and just taking that shade Mad on my fluffy powder brush, and just basically, because it's a larger brush, this is why I chose it, just getting it over, just patting it in, getting that coverage down. You can see that it does go a little bit patchy, but that is just where this is obviously meant to be a powder brush, so it's not the best at like packing colour on there. It's more at least just kind of spreading it out and blending it through a little bit. So it is a little bit on the like paler side of red, but trust me, we're gonna build it. I'm taking it down the neck as well, because obviously, you know, we're going full devil. I wanted to try and, you know, give you the full fantasy as best as I could. So please appreciate that. This was a nightmare to get off of my face. Trust and believe. So now I'm just going in with my contouring brush, and I'm just using this because it's that little bit smaller. It just helps to kind of get in those little nooks and crannies that I couldn't reach before, as you can see here, just around the prosthetic, to make sure that there are no just white gaps. As you can see, like right on that top corner there is like complete white. So I didn't want that. I was trying to be, you know, delicate around the prosthetics, but still getting that colour on. And then doing the ears as well, because, you know, they are on show. I can't have a whole red face and neck and not, you know, just have a white ear. So I wanted to make sure that I was actually getting that coverage in there as well. You know, it did kind of get on my earrings, but hey, the price of beauty is a price that we should have to pay. So yeah, just trying to get all of those kind of paler zones like patched in basically, so that it does look a little bit more smoother and seamless. It's not the best, I will not lie to you, but it is something. So now I'm actually taking my Revolution and Alexa Stone palette and just taking that dark red shade. It doesn't have a name, so, well, not that I could see anyway, so I'm just using that as my contouring shade, just basically buffing it into the natural contours of the face, and also just going around the prosthetics, because obviously where they are raised skin, it is, you know, going to be a slightly different skin colour to the rest of my face, so I wanted to try and emphasize that to give a bit more realism. And yeah, just continually going in with this kind of contouring shade, also taking it a little bit down the neck. As you can see, I'm kind of trying to emphasize the I don't know what to call those lines, but the neck lines, just to make it nice and pretty. So now just taking my small blending brush for the eyes and taking that darker shade just across the tops of my eyes as well, so through the crease, mainly focusing that colour on the outer corner. And because this is a smaller brush, the colour payoff is a little bit stronger, so that is always lovely. This is what I wanted it to be, because obviously for the eyes I want them to be a little bit more dramatic, a little bit more deep toned, a little bit more crazy. So I'm also just going in with that black shade there, again just to deepen up the eye, so mainly focusing again on that outer corner, but just blending it through the entirety of the lid essentially, and up into the original crease colouring, just so it's not, you know, it is still blending in, but it's getting that extra bit of deepness and darkness, because you can see the difference between the two eyes. Like that eye just looks complete, Do you know what I mean? So I wanted to make sure that we are getting that deep like depth throughout, but still having it blending into that transitional darker red shade there, so that it does still, you know, kind of correlate to each other. And you can see I did kind of try and wing it out a little bit, but hey, we're a devil, who cares? So yeah, going in with that deeper red shade again, and just going underneath the eye. You could probably see from the previous bit that I did go a little bit underneath with the black originally. So I'm not just kind of smoking underneath, directly underneath, I'm also drooping it down a little bit so that it's kind of giving that more intense eye, under eye look, as you can see. So kind of following roughly where your eye bags would be. So similar to last week, yesterday's video, in just, you know, how we achieve that under eye look. And then just adding that black shade again underneath the eye. This one we are kind of focusing it a bit more on the, I want to say, waterline. And then just because we're using a blending brush, we are going to be obviously smoking it through into that transitional shade as well, so it looks lovely, girl. And now I wanted to deepen up that contour because I felt like it was not lacking, but I wanted to add a bit more depth to it. So I took a bit of that black shade. You could see originally I did try and take just a little bit, because obviously working with like darker shades like black, it can be a very quick road to I've put too much on and there is no going back. So you want to work slowly, build the colour up. I mean, it looks more intense than it probably is, but I wanted to make sure it gives that kind of depth. As you can see there, it just helps to bring this to life. So I'm going in now with that shade again, the darker red shade, and just using a flat brush to essentially stencil in a cross on my forehead. This shade, obviously, where we've used a lot of that kind of same shade on my skin and my forehead, it didn't show as much. Like, you can still see it, but it's not as intense. So I also just dipped into that black shade just to essentially create a piece of line work with this. So it intensifies those points, as you can see there, so you can actually see it a lot better. And then I was actually going in with the deeper red shade again to just kind of blend it almost. So it's not just like a harsh line, it kind of does, because it's meant to be more of like a scar that's like scarred into the forehead. So I just wanted to kind of give that little bit extra texture, so it takes away from just being a black line and more into like a bit of depth with it, really. So now jumping onto the lashes, so I'm jumping in with my Benefit roller lash mascara, just coating the tops there, as you can see, getting them nice and ready for some falsies. I know you all missed them from yesterday, so here we go. We have the Indigo Rose Queen lashes, because we are going to be the queen of the devil. You know, devil is a queen, why can he not be? So yeah, working those onto the eyes there, as you can see, trying to make sure that they are nice and positioned well. I'm honestly, sometimes I can get a lash on really quickly, other times it just doesn't want to work with me. It is an absolute nightmare at times. So luckily these did go on fairly quickly, so we got them in. So then yeah, just applying some mascara to help bond those lashes to my actual real lashes, and also applying a little bit on the lower lashes as well, just to give them a little bit of something, making them look a little bit fierce, because that is what we like, a nice fierce devil. And now we're jumping in with the Revolution, I think it's the New Neutrals lipstick, and this is in Vamped, and it is a gorgeous red shade. And I originally was planning on doing like a black lip or something quite deep and dark, but I saw the red and I was like, do you know what, as much as it doesn't like it kind of blends in a little bit with the skin, I thought this looks quite realistic, like to what a natural lip would look like on this kind of skin tone. And then we actually jumped in with some fake blood because I was like, oh, we're the devil, let's get some fake blood up in here. I haven't used fake blood in like forever because it is one hell of a stainer. This is a nightmare to work with just because it does stain your skin, so please be aware of that. But I'm essentially going over getting some tears drooping, which again, I'm using a cotton bud for this because where it stains, I don't want to ruin any brushes or any kind of equipment like that. So we're getting these tears done right underneath the eye. So I did coat that underneath bit. Now this particular product as well is actually discontinued. Revolution do have a new one out. I mean, I think they change them like every year, so it's really confusing. But this is like an old one that I had, so probably not the most ideal to use, but it worked, it did the job. So you can see there I also coated the cross so that it had a little bit of a bloody effect to it as well. And we're just going in around the horns because where they are piercing through the skin, it is naturally going to give a bit of a bloody look. And that's the final look. Alrighty there guys, so thank you so much for watching this tutorial. I hope that it was part educational, part a bit of fun to watch me paint my entire face red. I've, now got to try and scrub this all off, which is going to be great. And I also just want to throw in there, I have actually got this, which is like a lifesaver for like prosthetics coming off, because the Prosade is actually meant to like keep it there pretty, not permanently, but like it will stick stuff there for a long time. So this just helps to remove it, and they often do come as like a package deal, so just wanted to feature it in there just so you don't go, out by Prosade and then go, oh god, I can't get it off. But you can totally use, like, I think you could probably get away with eyelash glue. It's not going to stick very well, but eyelash glue will do it. But you can either use Prosade or something like spirit gum. Liquid latex potentially will stick it as well. So whatever you can get. I mean, that was actually quite affordable. So definitely, I'll be leaving the links for all of these particular products down below anyway. So you can actually, see what I've bought and what I've used, and yeah. But anyway, you guys, I hope that you did enjoy this. If you did, of course, let me know by leaving a nice little thumbs up and maybe even a cheeky little comment. I do hope that you guys have been enjoying this week. We are obviously nearing a close now, so only 2 looks left to go. So make sure that you are staying tuned for the rest of those looks. I am super excited to show you guys what is coming. But anyway, thank you again for watching, and I will see each and every one of you guys in the next video. Peace out, witches.